You don't often have the words to describe what you experience when you enter a church. And that's what we mean by sacred. It's set apart, it's holy, it is unlike something you experience anywhere else. You all come in and experience that together. And you just find that we need these sacred places in our life. We are, as a people, hungry for beauty and for peace, and we find that in our churches.
It begins with the design, it begins with a site. And so once the decision was made about the property, it begins looking at the site and what are the key features. We took the historic sanctuary, looking at the slopes of the roof, the arches. You've got the rose windows and things like that, color of the brick, the texture of it, the stone, figuring out ways to use that language so that the character of the new building, as much as we could and in the right places, that it gets its cues from that historic sanctuary. The entrance to it is facing east. Solomon's temple faced east. There's a lot of symbolism to that as far as Jesus returned from the east. So the entrance that you walk into every Sunday, Wednesday, and whenever is facing east.
When you think about buildings, they are structures, they're places, but they have a heart. And it's how people choose to use it and say, okay, this is what this does now, or this was what it was intended to do, but we have an emerging community need, or we have something else we need to do. We see that happen over and over again in terms of, okay, how do we reimagine this space?
But there is really something sacred about our churches. I mean, they are all in some way, in different ways, crafted to draw your eyes to the cross. You know you're in a sacred place. You see these symbols, the light comes in through maybe the stained glass. You're looking at this beautiful city that we live in. You're hearing the sounds of life happening out there. And I think our churches can offer that to our community in a way that nothing else can. And what I love about these spaces is that we are always asking the question, how can we use these buildings to serve other people? And so I love to tell the story that when our main campus was built, it was almost built around the concept of allowing people experiencing homelessness to have shelter there when it's needed. And you walk in and you see this beautiful kitchen and you think, wow, they must do a lot of fellowship meals, or they must cook a lot, or is there a catering company? But no, it's the Franklin Community Meals on Wheels. It's 11 groups of people in Franklin that come and use that kitchen, and they cook meals 3 times a week, 52 weeks a year, that go out and feed our neighbors who are hungry and who are isolated.
I think a hallmark of faith and of United Methodist faith has been, it's about the whole, and it's a faith that has many facets to it. It's not just something you hold to yourself, it's something that you reach out and provide and serve others through it. And I see that in all those different works. Some of it are small things that we may never know about. Other things are very apparent. You can't miss the giving garden, it's there. Or the buildings themselves that bring many people together, weekly, daily, whatever that might be. So I just think that is community building and the active, engaged, meaningful faith are so integrated. I just, it's hard to separate one from the other.
If we surrender our plans and say, God, this is your building for your kingdom, that God will bless that. And it feels like God has done that, because at any given moment, you have no clue who you might see using these buildings. And it makes our work so much more sacred to know that our pews and our desks and even our computers, all those little things, they're just tools to help us better do the work that God has asked us to do, to serve Franklin, to make this corner of Williamson County look more like the kingdom of God. And when we gather, what we're doing is taking these people that touch every corner of Franklin, and we're uniting ourselves around what matters most and saying, this is the love of God that's given to you. Now go give it to someone else.